because it's never as good or as bad as it looks. The world is big and complex. Luck and risk are both real and hard to identify. Do so when judging both yourself and others. Respect the power of luck and risk, and you have a better chance of focusing on things you can actually control. You'll also have the better chance of finding the right role model. Less ego, more wealth. Saving money is the gap between your ego and your income, and the wealth is what you don't see. So, wealth is created by suppressing what you could buy today in order to have more stuff or more options in the future. That's different from saying you should aim to earn the highest returns and save a specific percentage of your income. Some people want to sleep well unless they're earning the highest returns. Others will only get a good rest if they are conservatively invested. To each their own, but the foundation of "Does this help me sleep at night?" is the best universal guided post for all financial decisions. If you want to do better as an ambassador, the single most powerful thing you can do is increase your time horizon. Time is the most powerful force in investing. It makes the little things grow big and big mistakes fade away. I can neutralize luck and risk, but it pushes results closer towards what people deserve. Because a small minority of things can afford the majority of outcomes. No matter what you're doing with your money, you should be comfortable with a lot of stuff not working. That's just how the world is. So you should always measure how you've done by looking at your full portfolio rather than individual investments. Use the money to gain control over your time. Because not even control of your time is such a powerful and universal drug on happiness. The ability to do what you want when you want with who you want for as long as you want to pays the highest dividend that exists in finance. No one is impressed with your positions as much as you are. You might think you want a fancy car or a nice watch, but what you probably want is respect and admiration. But saving for things that are impossible to practically define is one of the best reasons to save. Everyone's life is a continuous chain of surprises. Saving that aren't unmarked for anything in particular is a hedge against life's inevitable ability to surprise the hell out of you at the worst possible moment. Because nothing worthwhile is free, and remember that most financial costs don't have a visual price tags. Uncertainty, doubt, and regret are common costs in the financial world. They're often worth paying, but you have to view them as fees, a price worth paying to get something nice in exchange, rather than fines and a penalty you should avoid. Worse is room for error, a gap between what could happen in the future and what you need to happen in the future in order to do well is what gives you endurance, and endurance is what makes it compound the magic over time. Hmm. Room for error often looks like a conservative hedge, but if it keeps you in the game, it can pay for itself many times over. Avoid the extreme ends of financial decisions. Everyone's goals and desires will change over time, and the more extreme your past decisions were, the more you may regret them as you evolve. Define the game you're playing, and make sure your actions are not being influenced by the people playing a different game. Okay, respect the best. Smart, informed, reasonable people can disagree in finance because people have vastly different goals and desires. There is no single right answer, just the answer that works for you. Now let me tell you what works for me. Confession, just show me what you do with your own money. The difference between what some suggest you do and what they do for themselves isn't always a bad thing. It just underscores that when dealing with the complicated emotional issues that affect you and your family, there is no one right answer. There is no universal truth. There is only what works for you and your family. Checking the boxes you want checked in a way that leaves you comfortable and sleeping well at night. We can leave aside the rich, but independence has always been my personal financial goal. Chasing the highest returns or leveraging my assets to live the most luxurious life has a little interest to me. We are so far committed to the independence game that we've done things that make a little sense on paper. We own our house without a mortgage, which is the worst financial decision we've ever made, but the best money decisions we ever made. Mortgage interest rates were absurdly low when we bought our house, and a rational advisor would recommend taking advantage of cheap money and investing in your savings in high return assets like stocks. But our goal isn't to be coldly rational, just psychologically reasonable. Eliminating the monthly payment feels better than mismatch the long-term value of our assets. It makes me feel independent. I don't try to defend this decision to those pointing out its flaws or those who would never do the same. On paper, it's defenseless, but it works for us. We like it. That's what matters. Good decisions aren't always rational. At some point, you have to choose between being happy or being right. We do it because it catches oxygen of independence, and more importantly, we never want to be forced to sell stocks we own. We want to the probability of facing a huge expense and then needing to look at the stocks to cover it to be as close to zero as possible. Perhaps we just have a lowest risk tolerance than others, but everything we've learned about personal finance tells me that everyone, without exception, will eventually face a huge expense they did not expect, and they didn't plan for these expenses specifically because they didn't expect them. The few people who know the details of finance ask, "What are you saving for? A house? A boat? A new car?" No, none of those. I'm saving for a world where couples are more common than we expect. Nothing forced to sell stock that cover an expense also means we're increasing odds of letting the stocks we own compound for the longest period of time. The first rule of compounding is never interrupt it unnecessarily. We invest the money from our paycheck into these index funds, a combination of US and international stocks. There is no set goal. It's just whatever is left over after we spend. We max our retirement accounts in the same funds and contribute to our kids' 529 college saving plans. And that's about it. Effectively, all of our net worth is a house, a checking account, and some Vanguard index funds. It doesn't need to be more complicated than that for us. I like it simple. One of my deeply held investing beliefs is that there is a little correlation between investment effort and investment results. The reason is because the world is driven by tails. If you fail can afford majority of returns, no matter how hard you try investing, you won't do well. If you master two of three things, then more than needle in your strategy. The reverse is true. Simple investment strategies can work great as long as you capture the few things that are important to the strategy's success. My investing strategy doesn't rely on picking the right sector or timing the next recession. It relies on a high saving rates and patience and optimism that the global economy will create value over the next several decades. I spent virtually all of my investing efforts thinking about those three things, especially the first two, which I can control. I've changed my investment strategy in the past, so of course there's a chance I'll change it in the future. No matter how we save or invest, I'm sure we'll always have the goal of independence and will always do whatever maximizes for sleeping well at night. We think it's the ultimate goal, the mastery of the psychology of money, but to each their own. No one is crazy. Okay.